This happened about 2 years ago. I was going through a really rough time in my life. I had just gone through a breakup and had lost my apartment, job, my dogs, and my car. I was staying with my cousin until I could get back on my feet. I was also struggling with a heroin, alcohol, and anything I could get my hands on addiction. I would leave for days and just binge on drugs and alcohol. One night, I had gone out to a club with a person I had sort of been dating. We ended up leaving together to go to a friend of mine's house. This house was pretty much a party house or a flop house, whatever you want to call it. We drank and did drugs all night. Mid-afternoon that day, don't ask me how, but somehow I got in touch with this guy I knew, and he wanted to hang out. Now this guy I'm speaking of is just a terrible person. He's known around town as just a piece of trash. He's a thief, a drug user, and just downright scum. A friend of mine had dated him on and off for years, and she told me that he tried to sell her for drugs multiple times. Whether he was successful or not is unknown to me. Back to the story, I remember talking to him and he said he would pick my friend and I up. I agreed. He picked us up with a really shady guy in a pickup truck. I had to lay in the back of the flatbed for the ride. I didn't realize it at the time, but they were pretty pushy about me specifically being the one to ride in the back. My friend, let's just call her Stacy, was from a state away and didn't know the area, and I wasn't able to see exactly where we were going. Just the sky, some clouds passing my vision, sometimes the top of trees or power lines. It was actually pretty relaxing. I'd say about 25 minutes later we stopped. I got out, and we were at this pretty isolated house. There was a kid there who greeted the shady guy excitedly, which made me a bit more comfortable with Mr. Shady. The guy that invited me, let's call him Joe, and I were hanging out, talking. We were all having a pretty good time. There was a woman there too, who I'm assuming was the little boy's mother. She was really nice at first too. As the sun started going down, things started to change. People started to get a bit more quiet. Joe invited me into the house and upstairs to show me the construction they were doing. The whole upstairs was just plywood and insulation. He brought me to a little spot where he pulled out a gun. He showed it to me and I was pretty fascinated. When we heard somebody coming up the stairs, he put it back quick and we changed the subject as if we were talking about something else. It was Stacy. We all went back downstairs together before Joe pulled me aside and said, "You gotta get rid of that one." I asked why, and he said, "She's trying to buy crack from me." To be honest, I didn't really care and I just shrugged it off. Not long after, Stacy pulled me aside and said, "We should go." After she said that, I almost felt sober and started noticing Mr. Shady, Mrs. Shady, and Joe seemed to be eyeing us like we were prey. The woman just randomly looked at us and said, "I think you guys should leave." I just said, "Okay." As we went to walk away, aimlessly might I add, Stacy announced that she couldn't find her wallet. We started looking around and I asked to go inside one more time to look in the bathroom where she had been. Mrs. Shady nodded in approval and I walked in. They all followed me, close, even in the small bathroom. When the wallet wasn't there, I almost squeezed by them just to get back out of the house. Stacy was clearly pissed off because of her missing wallet, and I wasn't quiet about it. I turned around and said something like, "Where the fuck is her wallet, guys?" And without warning, I was tackled onto a concrete platform by Mr. Shady. His weight on top of me was grinding my knuckles and arms into the cement. I felt his weight release off my body. I took the opportunity to get on my feet, and as soon as I did, I felt the biggest blow to the back of my head. I was hit by one of them with a huge branch. It knocked me out cold. I hit the ground so hard that my shoes fell off. When I came to, I saw Joe walking towards Stacy, whom was frozen with fear, with a fucking axe. At this moment, I thought they were going to kill her. I was thinking, they're going to murder her. They're going to murder her with an axe, and I'm going to watch it. Then they're going to kill me too. I got back up with all the strength I had left and tackled Joe. I was pulled off of him and held back by Mr. Shady. And Joe picked up the axe again and continued towards Stacy, whom was still frozen with fear. I somehow wiggled out of Mr. Shady's grip and just charged through Joe, knocking him on his ass with his axe, and I told Stacy to run. We both ran as I felt something hit me in the back. It was my other shoe. I had only managed to grab one before I realized what was going on. I don't know who threw it, but I just grabbed it and continued on. I'm not sure if they chased us or not, but we found a spot to hide in some tall grass and shrubs. We both had no idea where we were, and my phone was about to die, so I used the map on my iPhone to drop a pin. I took a screenshot and texted it to Stacy, who had battery left on her phone. She sent it to one of her friends and briefed him on the current situation. Only about 20 minutes went by until we were picked up, or I should say saved, rescued. We took off to her hometown, where I spent a few nights there. My nose was broken. I needed stitches, which I never went to go get, so I have a nasty scar on my nose now. I had gashes all over my hands, bruises, scrapes, and bumps everywhere. The next day I got a frantic call from my cousin, who was relieved that I was okay. She had gotten a call from Joe. He was asking about me, if I was okay, where I was. She said he made it seem like I was an angel. He said nothing bad about me. He just said the girl I was with was no good. My cousin could tell something strange was going on. She was worried about me. Her and her fiance at the time ended up sleeping with a taser, a military-grade taser. They knew who he was and how he was. Stacy ended up finding her wallet. It was actually in her purse, but the money she had was gone. It was only $60, but it was all she had at the time. I never went to the police. We never heard from them again. Nothing else ever came from it. One creepy thing that happened afterwards was when I got home, I was looking at all the photos on my phone, and there was a picture of Joe holding the fucking axe, looking like a complete maniac. The sun was out, so we must have been playing around with it earlier that day. I took a picture for fun, not realizing we would later be attacked with that very axe. Unwanted visitor. Here's my scary story. It was late June, around 8 years ago. I was about 13, and I was at my mom's house in a rural area alone while she was out of town. I was watching the Sniper Show on the History Channel in my room. It was around 9 p.m. There were no lights on other than the TV backlight. I started hearing the sound at the back sliding glass door, similar to a dog scratching to be let in, but there were no pets at the house this time. It made me curious, so I slowly left my room into the hallway. Into the back door, I was able to make out a person in a ski mask in the dark. He looked at me. I froze. I got that gut-sinking feeling. We soon made eye contact. I ran and grabbed my shotgun. Since there was no phone in the house, I ran into the bathroom and locked the door. Still no lights on. Pretty soon, I heard a sound that caused my gut to sink even lower. The sliding glass door opening slowly. Shortly after, I heard footsteps. I thought it couldn't possibly get worse, and boy was I wrong. Soon he started calling out in a nice voice, "Come out, kid. I don't want to hurt you." I heard a couple of doors open, so I quietly chambered around, expecting the door to the bathroom to come open any minute. Shortly, the sweet voice became angry, and he started talking about how he didn't want to hurt me, but he would. And the harder you make it on me, I will make your life harder. That continued for around 10 minutes, before he just ran out. I looked around, nothing was missing. After gathering up the courage, I ran to my neighbor's house. I told him what happened, and he called the cops. After a while waiting for the cops, he told me that there was a suspicious-looking guy in a van casing out my mom's house. Eventually, the cops got there, and we told him everything. The cops looked around and pointed out where someone tried to smash the window into my room. They left, and I never heard back from them. So I'm assuming that the guy got away. Even though this wasn't submitted to Reddit. Creepy burglar guy. Let's not meet again.